Today we are going to have a tutorial on how to draft a pattern of a blouse with a princess seam starting from the shoulder. As always, we are going to start by tracing our pattern. This pattern ends only at the waist. Make sure that all the darts and other points are well transferred to your new pattern while tracing. Label your pattern accordingly. Trace your back pattern too. So I forgot to film when I was drafting this part. From your waist, from your center back, measure 8 inches going down. This is a standard measurement from the waist to the hip. Put a mark and use your square ruler, square across. Then, from your center back, measure quarter of your hip measurement and add 0.25 inches of ease. Put a mark and then connect that point to the point on your waistline. So make sure to extend your line, the line from the bust, the line with the dart, from your bust to your waist to your hip line. I've used a dotted line, but you can draw even a straight line. So here we have our front and our back pattern ready. So before we continue, let me try my best to draw our blouse. This is our neckline, our front neckline. Here we have our shoulders, and these are the sleeves. Our blouse is going to have a princess seam starting from the shoulder, like this. And our centerpiece will also have a design. From the center we are going to have a different fabric at the center of our blouse, which is going to be narrow at the waist but wide at the neckline. I hope you have understood the design. So this is our front. Our back will be, you have our neckline, our shoulder. Here are the sleeves. We are going to have a seam at the center of our blouse for the back, and the princess seams starting from the shoulder line. And this is our back now, and it is going to end at the waist. But we will have a peplum detail from the waist going down, which will end at the hip, but this will be a different tutorial. So now we are going to start with our back piece. Length shoulder is 4 inches, measure from the shoulder. We are going to have a neck depth of 1 inch. Take your square ruler and square across from your center back. Again, draw a 90-degree line from your shoulder line. And then, using your curved ruler, draw a neckline. You can even draw it by hand. Now to the princess seam. We start from the shoulder and we'll join that line to the dart line. You can put your seam line anywhere, but mine is going to be at the center of the shoulder line. If you remember, it was 4 inches, so half of it is 2.5, and put a mark. So now connect the point from the shoulder line to the line on your bust, the dart line. This is not going to be a straight line, so with the aid of your curved ruler, draw a line. It seems a bit slanted and it has some kind of sharp corner, so use again your curved ruler. Make sure to get rid of that sharp corner. There is your line. Now cut your pattern, separate from the waist, and cut the center line of the dart all the way to the end on the shoulder line. Again, cut the neckline, the new neckline that we have drawn. So to finish, make sure you get rid of the dart on both pieces. So these are the pieces. We have the center back as well as the side back piece. Now what is left is for us to add a seam allowance of 0.5 inches on our princess seam on the shoulder line as well as on our neckline, but on our side seam we will add 1 inch allowance, and on our waist 0.5 inches. So now add your seam allowance. Now cut your pieces. Here is our center back and side back pieces. So now with our front piece, let us take care of the shoulder and neckline. For the neckline, drop by 2 inches, put a mark, and our shoulder, if you remember, from our back piece we had 4 inches of length. Put a mark, then with your curved ruler draw a front neckline as shown here. Now let us move to the princess seam. Measure half of the shoulder. Remember I said I wanted my princess seam to be at the center of my shoulder. Now connect it to the point at the bust, that is the line of our dart. Use your slightly curved ruler, connect these 2 points. As you can see on our bust line, we somehow have a sharp corner, so again take your curved ruler and make sure to smoothen that point to avoid the sharp angle. Remember from our drawing we have another piece at the center of our blouse. This piece is going to be 1.5 inches wide at the neckline. So before you continue, take your square ruler and square from the center front. Draw a line going across. Then take your tape measure and measure 1.5 inches and put a mark. Now on our waist, measure 1.5 inches from the center front line, put a mark, And then take your ruler, connect these 2 points. Now with your ruler, connect these 2 points. With a straight line, and as you can see, it is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Now take your ruler and connect this point to the neckline. Just extend the line as shown. So now we have our centerpiece, our middle centerpiece, and our side front piece. So our center front piece is going to be on the fold. We are going to have a seam on this line and on the princess line. We will get rid of the dart. So when we cut, we are going to get rid of that. And for our side piece, we will get rid of the side dart. So in order to get rid of the side dart, this is our bust point. Extend the center leg of the dart to the bust point, and again redraw the leg darts up to the bust point. Finish with the other leg. And these are the new legs of your dart now. So now start to cut your pattern. Before you continue, remember to put the marks on the princess seam so that you know where to join these 2 pieces. Cut your center front piece. Take rid of this waist dart. So we have the center front piece, the middle piece, as well as the side front piece. So to get rid of the side dart, cut one of the leg of your dart, the new leg which you have drawn up to the bust point. Cut but not all the way through. Leave a small space so that you can move your pattern easily. So now it is time to close the dart. Now move your pattern like I did and move it to the other line of the dart. Take your tape and secure your pattern. Make sure to true the seam and to add the seam allowance. Now add seam allowance 1 inch at the side seam, and for the rest you are going to add 0.5 inches. Remember, our center front is going to be on the fold, so we are not going to add any seam allowance. So here we are, our pieces are ready.